Welcome everybody to the 6th episode. I got it right this time, and I know for a fact I got it right. 'Cause I've literally just finished rewatching all of the seasons so far. I got tired of being really down on it, and I'm like, I'm gonna give it another chance and watch it back to back. It's like a lot of stuff still stand. I still 100 stand by what I've said so far, but it might not be as bad as yeah. But as always, I'm Mitch. You can follow me on Twitter at 692tweets, and of course, I'm joined by Sean.
Hey, you can join me at Marvin the Martian _12. I might be. I don't know if you guys have heard of Blank Check podcast. Might be on that next week.
Nice.
Really cool show. It's the guy who was in the Tech TV show.
All right.
Yeah, it's a good show. It's pretty funny. They just kind of, but look out for
Was that Blank Check?
Blank Check podcast. Yeah. They do. It's basically like where they do like bodies of work for other people, like other directors, and then they talk about like the failures and the successes and stuff like that. But
Oh, nice.
yeah, it's pretty fun. Griffin Noon, really cool guy. So yeah, sorry.
Nice. Nice. No, plug away. By all means, plug away. That's what you're here for. But right. Where do we start with episode 6 of the blurb of the Mandalorian? Because I've redone this show.
Let's start at the beginning.
What was the beginning again? I know I literally just came out here like puffed chest, being like, I've just finished rewatching it. I can't remember how this episode starts.
I think it starts with Grogu.
Oh, cool. Yeah, little Grogu. Good old Grogu.
He's back.
All right, I'm gonna say it outright. I think personally, this should have been the start of Mandalorian season 3. Personally, I think this should have been.
Yeah.
Like you could have been done the whole. I need to go check on a little guy after the whole war with the Pikes happens, because we know that's obviously going to be happening this week.
Yeah.
So
it's going down this week for sure.
Yeah, I feel like this should have been the start of Mando season 3, and I understand fully that this show as a whole exists as an interlude for Mandalorian. Yes, this is the book of Boba Fett, and having an interlude is a very interesting choice. One I wouldn't have gone personally. I think having watched everything again back to back and sitting on this thing for a week, near enough, I think this whole show would have worked a lot better if you kept everything like this episode, where it was more like little vignettes of different characters, and applied that to every episode. And each episode's like bookended with the Boba Fett. So like you start off with what he was doing with the Tuskens, you jump over to what Din's doing, then you jump back to Boba Fett in the present time. I say present time, it's a damn prequel series, isn't it? You jump back to him walking to the mayor's office. And that's your like episode structure. Like, maybe do it so like it's a solid hour, so you have 20 minutes for each one. And like that way you don't get the conversation you have now of, oh, this show's now a Mandalorian show, it's not Boba Fett. Because then Boba Fett's got the majority of the episode to himself. And I don't know, that's just how I think, because with the way the show's done it, where it's jumped around a lot, and how this episode jumped around a lot, it feels like it's weird to then hard cut for 2 episodes to someone else. If that makes sense. It was a little. That makes sense. I was gonna say it's a little din jarring, but I'm not gonna make that pun. I'm a better person. It's been a little jarring the last couple of weeks. I understand the choice for it. I just think it could have been a little bit tighter as a whole.
Tighter, yeah. Oh no, like we've discussed this on many of these days, where like they could have.
I also don't want to keep harping on about it for your sake, because I know you must be tired of people ragging on this show, especially in our Facebook group, because that's a huge.
I'll be honest with you, it goes in one ear and out the other. I don't really like it bothers me, but it's like I get it. Like people are they're fans. They can be belligerent fans sometimes, but they are fans, and like but like and they don't understand maybe of like you can never like, and I'm not saying this derogatively, but a lot of fans don't understand what goes on behind the scenes and why they make the decisions what they do. So I'm not going to pretend that they do and then come crashing down on it. But like it does get a little annoying. But it's like I've learned in my many years of working in this industry to allow it to go in one ear and out the other. People have their opinions. Maybe it's a little bit more belligerent than others, but it's like they do have their opinions. But and I've been pretty critical. I mean, it's on air. I've been a big critical of the show, and I'm involved with the show. So, I understand, like just show, I don't want to say the show is disappointing because it's not a disappointment.
No,
it's
and
just,
I don't want to say that either because watching it back for like the second time, but I've only like, with like a WandaVision, I was rewatching that like every week. Like I haven't done that since. I kind of realized that was a mistake. I did the Netflix thing of like I've just completely ruined myself here. But like with this one, like watching it all again, it's made me realize and kind of like cemented the fact that the concepts and the ideas this show strives to do and pull off are really damn good. I love the idea of the whole rebirth with the Tuskens and the spiritual journey and awakening and all that. I adore that stuff. That train scene does not need to exist now. I get why. I get it's the Pike's introduction to the show and why it's personal for Boba Fett. I get that. You could have just done something different. No, the scene itself is boring. I was just from a stamp.
Yeah, I like I said a million times, I think you could have condensed a couple of the episodes together into one.
Yeah.
I think that the flashbacks have been more of a, I don't want to say hindrance, but it has been kind of, it makes it a little bit more sloggy. I get why it's there. It's just the execution might not be there completely. But
the flashbacks are literally when they're dragging Boba Fett through the desert in like episode 1.
Yeah, I think the biggest disappointment I have is just like there's not really a lot of action in the first half of that season. Like it all it feels kind of lopsided, where everything is going to happen towards the end. And like and I've said this a million times. I don't make the decisions in these shows. I'm a part of it. And like I feel like that it could have been, if you would have pared down the episode count a little bit, I think it could have been a little bit more tighter, and I think it wouldn't have been as apparent, in the episodes how sloggy some of that stuff is, and because like the ratio of action and talkie is kind of lopsided, and like when you put out a show called that is associated with probably one of it's a very blank character to begin with now, but like you're trying to build that character up, and like I get it's a slow process, but there has to be something. He's a reactionary versus an action in some of these episodes.
I'll be honest, I think actually giving this show another episode might have really gone towards helping out, because where it's been 7, I was it's still a 5-7 split, but you got to take out the finale, because the finale is going to be the big bombastic action moment. So I hope it's bombastic and not the speeder mod chase again. So that then brings it down to only 4 episodes of Boba Fett out of a 7 episode. It's just like you could have.
Well, how I can tell you about how they use the budget for these episodes is like they are at the very beginning. They give you a nice big cinematic-y thing. You can see that with Captain America and the Winter Soldier, or Falcon and Winter Soldier. And then they kind of like in the middle, it's kind of like the budget in those episodes are probably very, very slim. And then they use a lot of that budget towards the end of the season. So it's guaranteed that the end of the season, like there's going to be a lot of action.
Which makes it, it's very evident here, because if you look at what's going on, a lot of the stuff is just in the desert for the first half. And then bang, we get old Din Djarin back. And hey, we're on a ring world because it's a ring world, not a Halo. Halo did not invent that thing, people. Let's get past this. Like, Halo's not even the only thing to have a ring world in it. Like,
Yeah,
I can't remember the guy who wrote Ringworld, and it's bugging me now.
Well, I mean that concept has been out there for a long time. It's just
it
just got a little bit more shined on when Halo came out. It's not Halo didn't invent it, like it's but
exactly.
yeah,
Like those sort of shots, and then clearly we hired the deep fake guy who did who quote fixed our Luke Skywalker CGI. We have to justify why we hired him now. Here's 20 minutes of Luke Skywalker, not quite in broad daylight. I've seen people say about that. He's in the shadows all the time. But he's outside. He's always sitting in the shade, which I found.
He doesn't have a hood over his head, like
But I will say he looks 100 times better than he did in Man. Like I didn't have a problem with the season 2 Mando. It was light years above what Rogue One did with Tarkin. Like, you want to talk about a monstrosity? Rogue One Tarkin was horrendous.
Tarkin gave me nightmares of like uncanny valley proportions, man.
And it made it worse because when you see his face in the window in the Death Star, it's like, that's really damn good CGI. And he turns around and it's just like, like your face.
Yeah, I look at that as like the early days of this whole concept of like de-aging, bringing back dead people. But I think what they did. Fantastic. They saw a talent. They picked him up, and like this is his showcase of like this is why we brought this guy on, and like.
Though I will say, I have to say, this episode has absolutely cemented the fact that I don't want them to carry this on. If we're gonna see Luke again. And we're going to see Luke again because there's no way in hell you're going to have Dave Filoni be like, hey, Ahsoka and Luke know each other, something I've wanted for 14 years at this point, and never have the first meeting. We're going to see the first meeting at some point. Like, But
guaranteed.
but yeah, I assume the Ahsoka show is going to happen because why wouldn't it?
It's
why like, wouldn't it at this point?
Yeah, come on. I mean, look. You don't have to be a fortune teller to figure like they cast the character with a very famous actress. They're not going to just put her in sporadically throughout other things. Like they have plans for her.
And obviously we know she's getting her own show, so I assume that first meeting is going to be in there in some shape or form. But the CGI and I want that. He can't. The whole Luke thing took me out of the episode a little bit because he sounds so robotic. He doesn't sound like Mark Hamill to me. And then a couple of days later, they're like, "Oh yeah, we just used the speak and spell with Mark Hamill's lines from the '80s or whatever." I'm like, that explains it. that was the straw that broke my camel's back. Like, no, like it's impressive what you've done. I can appreciate the pushing technology. Recast the damn character, please. I cannot have Ahsoka and Luke having their first meeting on screen. Obviously, they've met because we've seen it in this episode, but I don't want to see that first meeting kind of like chronologically with robot Mark Hamill. I just can't.
No. Well, I mean, if it's one thing that you can count on is like they usually evolve that thing, I mean, like look at the D8, like what we were just talking about with
they can, but it's like, and like yes, they got the lines out, but it can't say Grogu properly. Like you can tell it's an amalgamation of two words, and like yes, it sounds like Hamill. They done it well to have it imitate how Mark Hamill acts. But there's no heart and soul behind it. It sounds empty. Yeah. And it really took me out of the episode. It was just like, oh.
I don't know if it took me out of the episode. It was very apparent, yes. But I think I always like it. I think what they were trying to do is trying to take technology and kind of push it, and see what they can do with it,
And I can appreciate that.
If it works, it works. If it doesn't, they just try to figure it out. That's what I love. Again, they just with what they've done with Star Wars, they've taken the technology and try to push it to do what, I mean, they say what you will about the Tarkin thing, but they brought brought a dead guy back to life,
Yeah.
and for a movie, and
It was weird.
It was weird.
It's the Jurassic Park conundrum. Right,
but
it's
what
you were so preoccupied
yeah,
whether you could. Should you do that? I don't know.
I like the moral things. No, I don't think so. But like, it's just fascinating to see like the things that you can do now, what you couldn't do years later. I mean, if you look at Robert Zemeckis, for a stretch of his career, he was using the mocap stuff, and he was pushing that thing to get. It didn't work. By no means it didn't work, and then that's why he got off of it. But I give him kudos for trying to do something different and new, and trying to evolve the art. Like, I mean, if people didn't do stuff, we wouldn't have the 360.
No, we wouldn't. And I can, but it's
just
I don't know.
Just the trial and error thing, I think.
Yeah, it feels like it's the wrong direction to go. Like
no, for sure. Like in,
I know it's just it's a fan casting, but you have people like Sebastian Stan right there.
Yeah,
like
but
you watch Pam and Tommy. He is Tommy Lee in that show. Like you do that with Luke Skywalker and making Mark Hamill.
There's a I don't know. I think, look, as that's a great comparison, but I think to make up an younger Tommy Lee is easier probably versus de-aging a whole human being and getting the voice of that human being at that age. I when I get down to it, I just give him a golf clap.
I will. Credit where credit's due. It looked good. Yes, there's some obvious things where it's like we don't really want to show the mouth moving a lot, so you're gonna hear the lines and just see his hand. Like you're gonna do that, but
work in progress.
Yeah, and it is. Like, will it get better in 10 years if they keep doing it? Sure, of course it will.
Okay.
But that's budget taken away from the rest of the show.
Yeah, I mean, but I always look at it as like, if you don't try, then it will never happen. Like
no. And I can also I'm not going to be one of those people where it's, they're going, oh, what's the point in all these cameos? It's like, well, Boba Fett, they're all connected to Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Or Jango Fett. Like everyone's had the connections to the clones. This one character has touched literally every single person we see in the show. So it's not a gratuitous cameo. It might be slightly out of place with how long we had Luke on here, and I get here's my dick on the table. We're gonna you complained last time, or here's this, like we fixed it now. But like it's I don't know. It just I don't feel right about this robot. It's like you have literally an actor right there who can do it. You can like.
I think. Look, I mean, I think they wanted. I think the people behind the scenes wanted to try. And like And,
it's totally fine. It's totally fine. No, I'm not gonna commend. No, I'm not gonna damn them for trying. If
it's one thing they've learned from their mistakes, it shows like there's a lot of show growth when it comes to like when making mistakes and then fixing those mistakes. It's all like this show. Like I always felt like it was kind of like a showcase for what could possibly happen or what they like the technology. It's just like Mando. Mando could have not worked at all, but especially with the way they filmed everything. And like I feel like if they didn't try, then I feel like it would have been more. I think it would have been more of a damning thing against them than doing something that was subpar. Like the 360 technology worked. And sometimes it doesn't though. With robot voice. Or deep faking. But it's like they are trying to get around. They're trying to develop things, to a point where they can.
It just feels like every satirical article from 5 years ago. It's like there's no more actors. Actors don't act anymore. It's like Mark Hamill was literally right there, but he's not there. Like,
but it's That's just how it is, man. Like that's the way of this stuff is. I mean, who's to say the next time we might see a dead Tupac, you know, in a biography, you know, where he's playing himself. I don't know, you know, but like
I think I still I don't know I'm not down for this road. It feels it's odd for me. I feel
mean,
like the old man getting the cloud right now. It's like no, this is this is the step too far. Like reining it back.
Just out of curiosity, a question: if it worked 100%, where it looks seamless, would it work for you?
The answer would still be no.
No? Yeah. So you're the purist, right? Okay. You want to?
I don't know. Well, I mean, is it really purism when it's like you're using actors, but you're not?
I mean, I don't know. I always look at it as like progression of like, because like it's an interesting way of it changes a lot of ways you can tell a story if this technology works.
It does, and I appreciate it's such a Star Wars thing. It's like no, we can't change a damn thing. Everything has to be the way it is. You know, you're not out here like Marvel with Howard Stark. Like, hey, we have 3 different Howard Starks.
Yeah,
I think it's actually 2. You know, it works. Do they look like they're gonna age into each other? No. But you can kind of see it, and it works. If you plonked in Sebastian Stan as Luke Skywalker, would people be against it at first? Yeah. Would you get an actual physical performance? Yes. Would it have a bit of heart and soul behind it? Absolutely. At the rate with Robo Luke, I can't.
You want a physical act. I take it you've never worked with an actor in your entire life. I would rather work with Robo, Robo actors than the physical actor, man.
I don't know. I
understand what you're saying.
It's creepy and it's weird. It's also I feel like it's a very dangerous slope to bringing back people like Carrie Fisher, and that would be where I cross up like 100%. I'd be done.
When it comes to stuff like that,
I don't believe they're going to do that, but there's a little bit of fear now where it's like, Christ, we're replacing people that are alive. Like, you can't even get him to ADR lines for Christ's sake and then put him through a filter. No, we have to use footage from 50 years ago and like put him through a speech.
I mean, like you never know with the situation. Maybe he wasn't available. I don't know.
I mean, he might not have been, but it feels very Lucasfilm of like, we have to be pinpoint accurate. Nothing can be different, which is very ironic because of what happens at the end and how a certain someone looks. We'll get to that in a minute.
Well, we'll definitely get to that. I think that has a really good explanation.
I mean, I might surprise you then, but I will say I loved the scene itself of Luke's temple being built by the androids.
The androids.
R2 being the little bitch that he is. Like, it's just like, hey, just wait here. I'm going to turn myself off. Like, Ahsoka being there, like just that one line she has was like, "You're like your father," crushed my heart. And I'm not someone that followed Clone Wars from the start. I'm a recent Clone Wars convert. Like that destroyed.
It's a pretty emotional thing because of like she, you know, like of course Luke doesn't really know his father, but all he knows is he knows bits and pieces of his life. You know, he doesn't know that. And Ahsoka just knows everything from A to Z almost. You know,
and like even with the heartless and soulless, will I see you again? And she's like, maybe, just like, oh. My heart.
It'll be funny just to hear Rosario Dawson's interview on take on that scene, you know, just to see what she would say, you know, like how is it talking to a robot? I mean, in the world of Star Wars, not very. But there's a scene at the beginning of the episode where you see the Rock coming up, and you think it's the Force. I love that part too. It turns out it's the hand carrying.
Oh yeah,
I think that was a cute little thing, you know, and like I love that ship, the Naboo starfighter, is growing on me. more and more.
Oh, I
every time
adore
see
it. It sounded slightly different this week. It sounded a bit more like the old V8 F1 engines. Because it had that screech, and I'm like, that's a tasty noise.
It gives me the feeling that Dinjin Mando is like going through a midlife crisis, and he's
100%. I've been preaching that since the day. It's like, man, people on Twitter like getting these viral threads of like, this is so impractical. And it's like, thank you, that's the point. But welcome to character art. It's like, this is why he has it.
It's like he ditched the minivan and then he got a Ferrari. You know?
Exactly. He's
and
absolutely
like,
having a midlife crisis. And it's only going to get.
And the character, like, I mean, as we see it recently, it does give you that sense that he is kind of going through that. A crisis.
He's also that weird creepy ex. It's not an ex because obviously it's more of a father wanted to see his child, but it's like, hey, I brought you something, can I see him? It's just like, no you can't. I immediately kind of hated Luke and Ahsoka at that point. It's like I get why they're like this, but like let the man see the baby, like don't be a dick about it.
I would be more like hating the religion, the religion is more of the culprit in that piece, but like,
and I get it, they're literally opposites of each other. They are polar opposites, Mandalorians and
it's
Jedi.
cute though. It kind of builds on the relationship more between Mando and Grogu anyways, because we don't know what's gonna happen. We don't know if he does choose. There's nothing, and we don't see anything in Rise of Skywalker to indicate that he was at Luke's temple.
I would say it's not
it's not clear what's going on.
Yeah, it's kind of it's not a great sign for Grogu. It's like, well, where was he? Obviously, he wasn't invented yet. I get that's why he wasn't. No doubt they'll later special edition Rise of Skywalker to add Grogu in there. I know.
In a blink of an eye, I'll disagree.
Oh wait, actually, in fact, no. It doesn't even make sense, Rise of Skywalker. Isn't the Razor Crest in that movie?
Yeah. I looked at that as like. Well, I looked at that as like an Easter egg.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
I never took that as like that was Mando. I mean, it could have been, sure. I mean, who knows where this leads? Maybe he does get the Razor Crest type vehicle again. But like,
I understand entirely. It's just the unfortunateness of.
I looked at it as like a Where's Waldo for Star Wars. You see a lot of ships in that scene. So it's like that's looked out. Anybody that knows me in real life, that's how I talk. Sorry.
I tell you what, the struggle I have not to say it is the struggle.
In situations, you want to say that word anyways. So
it's a good word. It's a very good in between word. Like it emphasizes a lot of things for multiple different reasons.
It's a quadrant type word.
Yeah, it's a 4-quadrant word. It's a beautiful word.
But
like Australians in a different word. But.
It's true.
But
back to the suit.
Yeah, I liked the thing. I did.
Yeah, I love everything at the beginning. I don't really have a problem with. I mean, I'm sure everybody has a problem with Robot Luke. I look at it the next time we see that character in Luke, it might be completely different. It might very well be.
I don't know why I wasn't expecting to see him again. I think because it's a Boba Fett title show. Well, I mean, and there's people out there being like, Boba Fett's a side character. Like, what does it matter anyway? It's like, well, then you don't make a Boba Fett show.
Yeah, it's
like Wanda's a side character. Sam's a side character. Every single Marvel show so far has been side characters. Like,
well, everything is until you elevate the character. Everything is like you can't. You have to elevate the character first because like everything is a character. I don't know. Like that. I think that argument just is kind of weird, weak.
I find it really good. Not gratuitous. Disingenuous. It's like you're just completely dismissing legitimate criticism because it's like, why make a show and call it something if you're not going to make it about that? Now, I do understand, Disney were like, "Hey, the next chapter in the Mandalorian is coming soon." Book of Boba Fett gets announced. Obviously, it's the next chapter in the Mandalorian. Like, this is an interlude for the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Like, that's why at the start of the show, I was like, intersplice these stories a bit more. I think it would have, at least for me, gone down a lot better. There's good stuff in here. It's just purely the execution on it. But back to the good stuff, because this episode has a lot of good stuff.
Okay.
I did like this episode. Apart from the choice, I get why he's making Grogu make the choice, but it's just like, like, you bastard. Right?
Yeah, he's kind of a prick to.
He's a typical Jedi. It's just like, oi, what you doing?
Yeah, I was gonna say that exact word. I'm like, it's just a Jedi type of thing to do.
This is why
they don't like
lost.
Fun, man. They don't like fun.
No, this is why your dad
was all about fun, right? But
there is an interesting, dramatically wise, it's an interesting position for Luke to be in, because he's making Grogu do the same choice. He's forcing the same choice on Grogu that Anakin had forced on him.
Yeah.
So he had an emotional attachment to something before he became a Jedi, and then making him get away from that, and that didn't end great.
I felt like it was kind of a little bit of a step, because it could have been Luke's way of changing things, right? He talked about like bringing back the Jedi Order. It's like the Jedi Order didn't work for a reason. The original version of that thing did not work because of there's something in that in the beliefs that it just didn't work and that's how it became what it became, and it produced it. I mean, I always felt like if Obi-Wan was a little bit more loving to Anakin, he might have been less inclined to, gravitate towards Palpatine, And you look at it and like Obi-Wan always was like the parent, like the very he's the fun parent, but he was a parent, and like I think if Obi-Wan would have approached it a little bit different, like we wouldn't have had Vader, but like I guess that's the story we were told. But like I think this was Luke's chance to kind of change up things to make it different from like he had to have known that there was something that was something else besides the Sith that caused the Jedi to fall. And like I think the attachment part was kind of that, like I didn't like you got to be more 100%. I feel like the attachments were like what makes you human, and like of course it's flawed, but like it makes you like I don't know, it just makes you more compassionate towards people. And like I don't think the Jedi were never that. They were always like this strict, order, and like I don't know. I think that was Luke's misstep, that he just didn't, that he followed it verbatim, and like that's not what he should have done.
Though I do think that Grogu is going to be a learning point for Luke, because where we see Luke in the sequel trilogy, it's like, I can't imagine that Luke making that same choice.
No, Luke.
So I'm fully expecting Grogu to maybe get a bit of training in with Luke, and then detach from that.
Because that Luke from that series was a completely different character.
But you can see the obvious progression that there's going to be for these two Lukes, though. Like you can see how A connects to B. It's like because despite all these grifter videos on YouTube of how the sequel trilogy ain't canon, like they referenced it a lot in this episode. Like, they were like, "Hey, remember this thing you saw in the movies? Like, we're going there."
Doesn't matter how many videos you put out, it's not true. They're
like Kathleen Kennedy's name is still on the credits. She's still there.
Sorry, guys. Sorry to the distractors. She's, that's on a side tangent. I always got when everybody brought up the fact that Kathleen Kennedy ruined Star Wars, I always just kind of rolled my eyes and just like, whatever, man. Like she was there from get-go, man. She was there when Lucas handpicked her to run the company. So if you're gonna,
but
blame
then again,
someone, you should blame Luke.
Lucas made the prequels, so it's like he wasn't the best decision.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
not
I was
me
gonna say,
crapping on Kathleen Kennedy, but it's kind of like,
yeah.
did
But
you
if you're
make
gonna
the best
blame,
choices? No.
but like I think she has like she has a pretty big body of work of successful.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, like she's got the clout and like the knowledge. She might not make the choices that you would do, but that's just how it goes. I mean,
No.
like you're not. Unfortunately, we are not in charge of this series, and like
I say, fortunately, to a certain
yeah,
extent, you know,
well, for sure, like
fans should not
it's
be in charge of anything. Though.
it's a double-edged sword. I mean, like you know, like I would never want to be in charge of anything that's so big in pop culture because your head might be on a bullseye somewhere in somebody's basement because like you make one bad choice or you make a choice that they don't like, your head is like off of their head, you know, like it,
Yeah.
like there's a lot of, you know, like I love fans. I understand fans love Star Wars and they love whatever they love, but it's like, you know, there's a lot of other things that go into making these things that does not include being just a fan. You know, you have to, I don't know, you know, you just have to. I mean, if you want to do it, but you have to work your butt off to get to that point to where you can make these decisions, and then you're gonna quickly realize that there's a lot of decisions that you have to make that you might not want to make, but if you know, or you want to make it, and it's just not someone else's cup of tea, so people are gonna rag on you about it, you know. So you're gonna be on the other end of that stick, you know, and you might not like what you feel, you know. Like it's, I don't know, you know. I always say walk a mile in someone else's moccasins, man, before you start making wild accusations. You know?
Yeah.
Like it's a crazy thing to be involved in these things, man. Like it's a lot of pressure, you know, and like
Yeah.
I don't think people have that in it to do them. But anyways, back to the show.
Say back to how Luke picks Grogu up at the Force and just like makes him jump as they walk. I find that adorable. I didn't catch that when I first watched it. I just thought that was him like remembering like how to do stuff like that. A very big point of these scenes are like he knows a lot. He knows a lot more than he makes out. He's got some compartmentalization going on upstairs a little bit, and he's
PTSD.
just like yeah. So I'm gonna make him hop because every step I take is 12 for him. So and lift and drop and lift.
Do you want to get into the Order 66 of it all?
Yes. That's just exactly where I was heading. I need to know, were those clone suits or the clone armor practical or CGI?
I believe, if I remember correctly, it's like 50-50. A lot of that, be surprised about a lot of like that sequence is very because you got the ethereal dreamlight feel of it.
Yeah,
you know?
you got like the grease sheen, like the
Yeah.
rainbow bit on the outside. Yeah.
So I believe there were people on set filming a thing like that.
Yeah.
Maybe
They didn't do what
campaign
Mando season 1 did. It's like, hey, we need extras. Call in the 501st cosplay guys. No.
I don't know if they did that, but like I believe it was practical. Some of it was practical.
Because if it was practical, then this was the first time we've ever seen a practical clone suit on the screen.
I mean,
So I think the only practical clone armor anything is in Galaxy's Edge.
Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah, because everything else in the prequels is all CGI, and it's just like seeing that scene. Not only is it kind of like, like my little heart, like his poor little guy, but I'm watching it just. I can't figure it. I couldn't figure out if the suit was practical and the lighting was CGI, or if the whole thing was CGI. It was that weird, like
uncanny valley of it all.
Yeah. Not saying that it wasn't like the bad uncanny valley.
No.
It was just my brain's fighting to figure out which one it is.
You couldn't figure out if it was like if you're actually seeing physical versus like digital.
Yeah. Which I think is probably a good thing, because it's like if it is CGI, then damn, it looked great. If it's not, damn, it looked great. It's like it's nice to have practical clone armor. If not, hey, it looked really good. It looked,
Yeah.
it's nice to see good-looking clone armor. But
So
no, poor little guy. You know.
I love that scene for the simple fact is it's just interesting now. You can see what kind of this.
I say
what
it
happened with him.
confirms the not the obvious, but I think everyone kind of like he was a Jedi in training. He was obviously in some academy. He had to have gone through the Order 66. He had to go through the patch. Right.
Yeah, poor guy.
And obviously being as old / young because he is both at the same time because down species. He forgets.
So any theories on who saved him?
Didn't cross our mind, to be honest. But that's a very interesting point. It's very. I assume I'm gonna absolutely assume, right? Because there's a plot point. There's scratch that. There's a plot hole in this, and it's a very minor, but at the same time, it's kind of a big one. How does Luke get Yoda's saber?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Because
I mean,
we
could have rebuilt it though.
Yeah, but then he's straight up lying to Grogu's face that it's his saber. If he's rebuilt,
I mean, you could. Well, if he took the parts, right?
Yeah,
I
mean,
mean,
if,
technically,
if it needs rebuilding, then it's not the original saber. Super Theseus.
Well, I mean, if he, I mean,
it
could be 50-50. Yeah.
Because it's a case of like, yes, Yoda had it on Dagobah. We know that. So obviously Luke got it from Dagobah. The question is though, where did Yoda get it from? Because he loses it in the prequels with the fight with Sidious in the Senate.
Well, I think it also there's a yeah. I mean, could have just picked it up before he left.
Which was going to bring me back around to the question of who saved him. Well, if Yoda's gone back to go get his saber, who's to say he didn't pick up little Grogu?
I mean, he looks like him for sure. I would if I seen a little blue, green-eyed, little blonde-haired kid that looked like me, I'd be like, yeah, come on.
It's just like, oh, there's been one of me. There's another one. Let's pick you up. But at the same time, I don't. That's me. I'd fear they'd be like, son. And it's like, oh no, don't do that. Don't do that. No, we don't need that. But,
and I want Sam back though in the Jedi robes.
If they have Sam Jackson back as Mace Windu and he's like one arm, half a face, and he's like, I survived, and he's saved Grogu, then perfect.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be revealed soon who did it.
I hope so. Right, with how this ends, and it's obviously like Grogu's they're not going to hard stop Grogu's story. Like there is a plan for that moving forward, so we're going to get Din and Grogu at the same simultaneously. Answering that question it wasn't something I had before. I definitely have it now.
I think the only I don't know where do you think this took place though? Like, do you think this the whole incident?
The planet?
No, yeah. Like, was Mace Windu on the same planet as Grogu at the same time?
I mean that's the question, isn't it? Because it's very vague, not telling you where it is.
Yeah, there's a reason.
It's purposely avoiding telling you where it is.
It doesn't look like a jungle planet. If I remember correctly, it's been a while. It's been a couple of days since I've seen it, but if I remember,
it's in a build. It's in a hallway, isn't it? It's physically in a Jedi temple because there is there's one of the crests you see quite a lot in the prequels, and I can't for the life remember whose it is. I know it's a name, but like Jedi, but.
So I would say that it can't. It might. I mean, it could be Yoda. And it also could be Sam. Mace Windu.
I was gonna say if it was on Coruscant, then yeah. I'd fully expect it to be one of those two. It could literally be anyone.
Yeah. I like
the way these shows are going, and the Filoni-isms come out. It's gonna be someone big. Yeah, absolutely gonna be. Fingers crossed it's Hondo. Just give me Hondo for Christ's sake. Right? I need Gandalf beard spiked Hondo, pale tan Hondo come out, please.
He's coming.
but no, I'm expecting it to be a big name character, or at least someone that's been in the shows before to have saved him, or even the games. Like, we've tied in Fallen Order with the BD droids now. Not that they weren't not canon anyway, but like do something like that. That's what.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe it's even like a Mandalorian.
I like it could be the Night Watch. I mean, but I like the visual of a grizzled, bloody Mace Windu coming back with one arm.
He's got all the burns from the lightning. He's like, come on, Grogu.
But yeah, I think that's I think it's obviously a loose end to be.
I wouldn't even mind. Like, I know it'll be a bit of a fiddle and a leap and a jump to have it, but like someone like one of the clones we know, like Rex. I know Rex wasn't anywhere near there at the time, but like a clone we know like that, it'd be, I don't know where the Bad Batch are even at that point in time either, because I haven't watched the season or know where it's going, but maybe something like that.
Seeing that like all the clones kind of like turn to see that like a person like a clone like Rex kind of fought the program,
Just give Morrison more work, damn it. No.
Yeah, I mean,
I need to see him as every live action version of himself.
I was gonna say that guy's primed, man. Like he's got like
I need a shot with 6 Morrisons in it. Just give it to me, Disney. Come on.
Yeah, there's a thing that they're working on. They could very well fill that void.
It's true. That's a very good point. That's a very good point.
There's something. I don't know. I'm not
it's one of the ones they announced, isn't it?
No.
Isn't there?
Nope. There's something else. I'm not
gonna have to cut this out.
I think we talked about it months ago. I think. Yeah, we talked. I think I talked off air about something a while back, but like.
Remind me when we're done.
Yeah, well, once we get off, I'll tell you. I
say because we got to get to the not the elephant in the room, but we've missed out certain bits. Because at the start, they very purposely made the choice to show you how quick on the draw Cobb Vanth is. And he's got to be. He has no armor anymore.
Yeah.
He's got to be quick. He takes 3 pikes out before one even registers that the other 3 are dead.
Yeah.
And purely not for his sake, not to like look how good Cobb Vanth is with a gun.
No.
It's like look how good Cad Bane is with a gun.
Yeah, for sure. Like,
and obviously, the title of the episode, the stranger came in from the desert or whatever it was, something along those lines. Like,
yeah, I was waiting for this episode to happen to talk because I kind of gave you something a while back.
Yeah,
I feel bad about saying
another lie.
I don't think it was a lie. I told you the character was coming.
I'm gonna underscore here. The lie, like 2 days before the episode, was a lie.
I mean, a lie is a weird thing to say. Like it's a weird word, but no,
it's a strong word. It's very appropriate. It's very.
But I did tell you the character was coming, right?
Yeah.
I did tell you the character was coming. I just didn't tell you.
I'll be honest. I kind of figured it. I was still just like, there's no way.
Yeah, I think you figured my logic. If I tell you something a week before, it's usually really close to happening. Yeah. Sorry, I don't want to laugh. It's fun. It's not fun to do this to your.
But yeah, old caddy boy. I adore the fact that he parked like 12 million miles away from what is now Freetown. Be more on the nose, thank you.
It's a dramatic entrance, man.
It's very much hey, this is a Western, remember? We're making a Western. Star Wars is a Western, and having slowly trundle in, it's just like, he's right there. He's there.
I think of the whole episode, I think this is my favorite part of the episode.
100%. 100. And I do not care if people have a problem with the amount of cameos. Get over it.
cares?
It makes Cad Bane being in this show, in this episode, makes more sense than Luke showing up in Mando season 2. Luke was 100% hey, I'm here now. Cad Bane has history with the Fets.
With the Fets and Mandalore in general, like, there's a lot there. It's not just a gratuitous cameo. It's a hey, we have history, or we have some talking to do.
Like, it's just made it that little bit more personal now. So I am 100% fine with Cad Bane showing up. I will bootlick this decision for the rest of my life.
And also Toto is coming too. So just
good. I was hoping for that.
Toto is coming.
Yeah,
not the band, the robot.
Yeah, I was hoping that little droid. Cause I was talking about it the other day, and I was like, "There's no way they don't. There's no chance you have Toto." No way.
I think they tried to get him in that scene. Just didn't work. It didn't work. Like
I'm fine with it. It works that he's on his own and he's just strolled in from the middle of nowhere.
I love it.
How long was he walking for? I don't know. I don't care. He looked cool coming in.
It looked like it. All it was missing was like sand particles coming up, dust settling, so to speak, and that poor deputy, man, I gotta tell you.
I mean, he was a gobby little git. He deserved it. I gotta tell you, getting man, quadruple tapped to make sure he's absolutely dead, but he deserved it.
Cobb Vance should have trained him better, man.
He should have trained him better. Yeah, 100%.
Don't open your mouth.
And no, Cobb Vanth is not dead. People come on.
No, he's not dead. But the deputy is 100% dead.
Oh, yeah.
The deputy's gone. You're gonna see another red shirt, I'm sure.
Yeah. He shot the sheriff and murdered the deputy.
They didn't kill Cobb Vanth. Cobb Vanth is a pretty popular character, Cad Bane doesn't do something by mistake, So
no.
But I love.
You also see him get shot in the shoulder, and it's like the amount of times we've seen people live from that. Like,
yeah. I mean, come on. He meant to kill the deputy because the deputy said something.
Is a gobby little prick. Yeah.
Yeah. He opened his mouth, and you gotta pay. You cannot write a check your butt can't cash.
Yeah.
Exactly. And he did not. He went. His check bounced like a rubber ball, man. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
But I love that scene because it just, I deep down inside, I love westerns. I love really good westerns. Like, and this reminded me of Unforgiven and Tombstone and all those like, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, where they're just like, it's just that one scene of like, you can watch the whole movie and be a little like, this is a western, but like those one scenes where they do that whole
the standoff.
The standoff that makes it all worth it, and like I love it.
Now, I'm gonna be a picky prick here. I'm gonna be a picky prick. The hat's not big enough.
It's a very you're correct when you said picky prick. Yeah,
no,
I mean,
I'm like the hat's fine. I wasn't keen on the color straight away. I thought he like.
I would say that's the age thing.
That's exactly what I like. My brain for Star Wars doesn't work with this scene was 30 years ago. Like Boba Fett's like 40 plus at this point. Like Cad Bane is at least a good bit older than Boba Fett, so he's gonna be old. My brain don't work like that. My brain, like everything's like the MCU, and it's all happening within years of each other. So like I since like in the week, like my brain has gone. He's old. He's gonna, the Bad Batch is the last time we see him. He's still got that like deep blue look there. Yeah. Like Bad Batch was a while ago. Like there's a good period of time here. Like it's past. Like he's probably getting up there. Like the colors. A little bit. Like,
I would equate him. He's the Clint Eastwood character
Yeah.
And Unforgiven, you know, like
Yeah,
he's a
100%.
seasoned, like he's always been a seasoned veteran of the bounty hunting, but like this is the guy that is
He's two shots away from retiring.
Yeah, or he came out of retirement to just do this, you know,
Oh,
or he's
yeah.
or something like that. You know, he's just that guy
Yeah.
that, you know, that's all he does. You know, he sits in his rocking chair in his spaceship and waits for the next bounty to happen.
I will say though, like my actual, it's not even I don't think it's a nitpick. I'm not even criticizing it for it. I found the voice slightly distracting because it's not the Cad Bane voice I know. It was too clean. It's more like that's a younger Cad Bane voice. Like if you're gonna make him look older with the skin tone, the voice should be worse than what it is when he's been in the car.
Gravelly.
Yeah. And you know, yes, you could say technology's pushed it forward where he doesn't have to sound like that. Fair, it's a fair enough point. It's not ruining the appearance or anything for me.
No.
Yeah, it's just if I was going to change anything, it would be I dial up the filter and the voice a little bit. I appreciate wholeheartedly that it's the voice actor from like the Clone Wars and everything.
They went strong on that character to bring back the voice actor because like it's a very very unique.
It's like if you get someone else for Hundo, it ain't gonna be Hundo.
Yeah,
it's just as simple as that. I mean, like you need those like. You know, I'm not going to sit here and be like people being like, oh, he's not skinny enough. He's not this. And it's like, your people need to completely disassociate how things look in cartoons.
Yeah, I mean,
like a 3D render of a stylized character is never going to work in live action. Especially when this is the show that exaggerated features for characters in live action first.
Yeah.
That should be your first like red flag. Like Count Dooku's face is not like 3 miles long.
It's just the style of the animation, you know, like you can't like why would you want that? You know, like this is like what if the character actually existed in real life? This is
also if this weird little skinny twink walked up to you sounding and looking like that, it's gonna look awful.
Yeah.
Like he can't look like he's about to be blown in the wind. Like
plus, I mean, it's not the last time you're going to see this character, so
exactly. You know, you don't spend that sort of money making Cad Bane look that damn good. So then, it's like Black Chrysanthemum, right? You don't make a whole damn Wookiee suit
for one 5 minutes.
Exactly. Like same with the like cut the Luke out of this episode. I could have had more Rancor stuff. Where's my Rancor?
Oh, you're gonna get the Rancor.
I mean, I know it's coming, but like I want an episode of him like learning to ride the damn thing. Like I want to see him at least try to ride the damn thing once before he rides the damn thing.
So we get 2 more episodes, right? If I remember correctly.
No, it's the finale this week.
Okay, this week. So the poop is gonna hit the fan.
I'm expecting. This is going to be the one, the very few times I genuinely expect something from anything. Yeah. If it don't, you're gonna hear about it.
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about it, I'm sure.
I wouldn't blame you if you called in sick, and I'll just give I give Jared the earful because I tell you what, I think me and him are gonna fight next week or this week. So.
Really?
It's not legitimately fight, but
no, like I was gonna say that's interesting.
it's gonna be words. Words will be spoken.
Is he pro the show big time or is it?
He's very pro the show. He's let it be known on a couple of times that my takes on this show are bad, so we are gonna fight.
Oh, has he told Armin his takes on it? Jesus, your takes are tame in comparison to Armin.
Christ, Armin has a take. He has a take on this show.
Recently, he's been kind of savage towards the.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, look, that's his opinion, sure, but like.
Yeah. I have thought about asking him if he wants to be on the finale, and I'm like, no, I can't. I
don't think
can't
I
do
want.
that.
I don't.
I can't do that. No, he's fine. Yeah. I know you're listening.
Yeah, I mean,
so.
But yeah, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how people react to this last episode.
Yeah,
I think
I'm expecting it to.
you're not gonna...
What I've got in my after these last 2 episodes and the obvious Dave Filoni episode that we just literally had, I'm fully expecting the Filoni syndrome to go into high gear and something very Filoni happen, and then for people to kind of do what they've done with Luke, where the people that hated Luke in The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker adore the Luke we've got here, and it's like, guys, it's the same character. It's just the start of the arc. Like, you're going to be very mad. Like,
you're gonna be very disappointed by the end of this.
Yeah, like, I'm expecting that. I know Star Wars, so I clapped people to like 180 on this show for whatever happens, whatever Filoni decides has to be in this episode. Right. That's kind of where I'm going with it, and I don't know how I feel about if that does happen. No.
Well, the thing is like the people that don't like the show, you're not going to change their mind, no matter what you do. Like, they're pretty set on their opinion of what the show is and what like. But like, I think the people that do like the show, they're gonna be pleasantly surprised with the ending of it.
My biggest worry is how earned is this ending gonna be. That's my one worry. Yeah. I don't know if I'm gonna feel like the show's earned the ending. So I'm expecting something that's been talked about.
Yeah, I reluctantly agree with you on that. It might not be earned because of just the simple fact of like the past episodes haven't really, I don't know, built up to whatever, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know.
Because I'm expecting something a bit more than Boba Fett's in charge of. Is it Mos Vespa? No.
Mos Vespa, yeah. I think. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I think it earns it in a way, but like the past.
If the thing's an hour long, then I expect them to.
I believe it's a little bit about. I think it's an hour, a little bit over an hour.
Yeah. If it's a good hour, I fully expect them to just grasp earning it.
Yeah.
As long as they handle everything right, like you get you got one finger on the handle of the trophy, like you just got it. It's not where it's the case of this is the victory lap. It's like, oh no, we got it.
I think the past episodes kind of hurt that chance of happening. Because it's just like whether you.
It's unfortunate. There's so many good ideas in this show. I love so much of this show, but it's just. It has let itself down.
It's the problem with the show is it's kind of all over the place in a way. It's kind of a little here, a little there, a little in the middle, a little on the sides. It's like it's not like one big cohesive group where the narrative. I don't know the narrative. I don't know. I think the what hurt it for me was those first 3 episodes is what really hurt me. And really because I just I like the Tusken Raider stuff, but it could have been condensed. I think you could have used the later episodes to kind of fill in because I always wanted this. I always looked at this show as like The Godfather in space, and
and episode 4 where he's having the dinner, fantastic.
Yeah.
Watching that again, that episode's fantastic, start to finish. It's great.
Yeah, that episode reminded me of like a Francis Ford Coppola, scene in a Godfather because it's he's whether he knows it or not, what he did with that table was ruthless.
It was sheer fear.
It was like you told me that you're not gonna run in fear, but this is Finnick
It's like the
knows.
worst intimidation tactic. It's like, oh, hey, look, every one of you bar one is sitting on this grate that can drop at any moment.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna like he doesn't do it, but like there were times where you're like he could have just did it, and like I don't know, I thought it was funny.
He laid the nuclear button on the table and he's like, I'm not gonna press it. But you don't know if you, like, why would you put it on the table if you're not gonna press it?
Just
like, what are you doing?
Say, like, it's just the fear of that thing being on the table. It's like
exactly.
If he puts his elbows on the table and kind of slips and falls, that like he presses the button. I don't know. I like that episode just for the simple fact that it was like Francis Ford Coppola. What I felt
it's
like
what I want. It's what I was expecting and what I wanted the show to be. It's just like, this is. I was here for gangster Western Boba Fett.
And you're getting it towards the end, which is the part that I don't necessarily like. It's like, like that. Those first few episodes were just like I felt were more, I don't know, fan service-ish a little bit. Where
it's a bit dragged out.
Kind of could. I felt like all it wanted to do was tell you where Boba was, and just like it could have got to the point a lot earlier of where he was, and kind of got the ship. But I think the later episodes, what do you like? Call it what you will. I don't care. When I heard people telling me like this is the Mando show now, it's like there's a point to it, the last episode will kind of put an exclamation point on that point, and I think it'll be interesting to see people's take on it. I'm sure there's going to be.
I will say, no matter what my experience with this show, I am excited to watch it in 2 days. I'm really excited to see where this goes. Mainly, I'm here for the baby rancor. I'll be honest.
You're just waiting for that part of the episode.
Just like
fulfilled.
Yeah, it makes I'm torn because like I really want the baby rancor, but it's like I'm just one of these people that clap because I know Star Wars. No, it's I'm excited and disappointed myself at the same time. No. I just can't help it.
The splash of emotion, I guess.
Yeah. But I think that's gonna bring us an end to this week. You got a little over an hour and 10 minutes, give or take. I apologize. It's going to be a little bit late, but it can't be helped, unfortunately.
Sorry, my tummy had a rumbly, so I'm sorry.
It just means you get 2 episodes in 1 week as opposed to the 1. There you go. You get a double. Same content, double the drop.
Double spoonful.
Yeah. So thanks everyone for joining, and we'll catch you all this week again
on Friday.
So, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.